Hey everyone, today we are going to do a little routine that can help to release tension that you're feeling in the low back, just around the pelvis and the hips. Maybe it's due to just repetitive action of sitting too much or standing, but this is something that's brought relief to many of my clients, and I promised them that I would film it because I always say, hey, this is something you could do at home. So for this routine, you will need a mat. And you will need a melt roller. You can use a full roller, which has got the full circle. You can use, we also have, some of you have the performance roller, which is half. That's totally fine for this one. If you're on the shorter side or you find that the roller just feels too high, you can also use what's called a half roller. And this one can be nice because we want some of the movements for your ribs to be down. And you'll see with me with my size that with the full roller, sometimes it can be a little bit challenging. If you don't have a roller, you can come on into the studio. We've got some in stock and get one there. But you'll be seeing me do lots with this because it really is fabulous. So we're doing a combination of things, but it's really great for your nervous system to do an assessment because the first place we want to go to getting out of pain is awareness, like what's happening in my body, where is stuck stress living in my body. We go through, we do our exercises, and then at the very end we want to reassess and just notice some of the changes or adaptations that we've had in the tissue. And what that does is it actually gives time for your nervous system to integrate the work that we've done. And it communicates to your brain, to your brain, which is the epicenter of your nervous system, that this is how I am to be. And so that assessment and reassessment is really very powerful. So it can be done quickly once you learn how and you know what you're looking for. And it's critical that you do it such that change lasts, right? It's one thing to go, you get a treatment, you're like, oh yeah, that feels great. And by the time you get home, it's like undone, right? No, we want this to last. And this is why the work that we do with you, it does stay. So assess and reassess. So we're just going to have you lie down on your back. And we just want to look at the three places that stuck stress likes to live in your body. I'm going to have you close your eyes so that we take the part of vision away, because we really just want you to drop in and feel what you feel, notice what you feel, and we'll use the floor, your mat, as a reference. Your palms are to the ceiling, and your arms and legs are just a little bit apart so that they're not touching your torso. And we want to look here at the three places stuck stress lives in our body and what we call the four common muscle imbalances. So the first is in your shoulder girdle. So that's all that area around the shoulder blades. Notice where your shoulder blades are related to the mat. Notice if ideally they're nice, flat, wide, and grounded to the mat. If there's stuck stress in the shoulder girdle, you'll feel like the shoulder blades are tipped back and you're weighted towards the back of the shoulder blade. Just turn your head to the right and left. And here you just want to notice if there's any restrictions in the neck. If you have stuck stress in the shoulder girdle, this is going to impact tension in the neck. And then come back to center. And just notice where center, your brain feels center is. So where are you weighted on your head? Ideally, you're centered. Your nose tip is pointed to the ceiling, and you're weighted directly opposite the bridge of your nose. But maybe you're tipped off to the right or tipped off to the left. Also notice, do your arms feel like they're the same length, or does one arm feel longer than the other? Or perhaps rather than your arms, your palms, being facing up to the ceiling, you might feel like you're wanting to be rolled in, like your palms are wanting to turn into your body. The second place stuck stress likes to live is in your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is sitting basically within your rib wall. So here it'll affect the curve of your spine. So notice if your rib wall is ideally down on the mat and grounded, but if there's stuck stress in your diaphragm, you'll feel like rather than there being a low back curve, you have a whole back curve. So you'll feel like the weight of your back is all the way tipped back to the back of the shoulder blades. Ideally, the curve of your spine is between the top of your pelvis and the apex being at your belly button. The third place that stuck stress likes to live is in your pelvis. So here, ideally, you're weighted on two butt cheeks. If you have stuck stress in your pelvis, you'll feel like you're tipped down a little more towards the tailbone, or you really just feel like you're sitting on your sacrum, weighted on your sacrum. The back of your thighs, their masses, they would be weighted to the floor, and the back of your knee spaces would be a little bit lifted off the floor. And then your toes are pointed to where the wall and the ceiling meet. If any of that feels different in your body, that could be a sign of stuck stress and also impacting why your low back or maybe your hips or your pelvic area feels a little bit tender or off. Take your focus back into your torso and divide your body into a left and right. And just notice if you feel like you're equally weighted to the right and left of your body, or maybe you feel like you're a little heavier over to one side. You're going to have you bend your knees. And we're just going to take a focused breath in and exhale. So we're going to start with a little, I call it a pelvic reset. And if you're by yourself, you're going to bring your knees towards the ceiling. You're just let your heels stay dropped to your seat. You're going to take your hands with an open palm, place them on the outside of your knee. Relax your elbows. You can stabilize a little bit just with the mid-back. And you just want to press your hands and knees into each other. And you'll hold that for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. And again, press your hands into your side of your knees and the side of your knees into your hands. Make sure there's no tension in the neck and shoulders. Just tuck your arms in and just brace a little bit there, and then you relax. And we do that one more time. Press out. You want to be having equal pressure of both legs into your hands, and then you relax. Now you're going to take your hands. I like to use a fist, and I bring my hands together. Press here, your hands into your knees, the inside of your knees, and the knees into your hands, such that it's called an isometric contraction. Again, you want to use your mid-back to help stabilize, and then you relax. And again, you press. You don't want to press so hard that there's any tension in the neck and shoulders, just an activation through your inner thigh, and you feel that tightening through your lower abdomen. And relax. And one more time, use your breath. And exhale, press your knees into your hand and your hands into your knees. Good. And relax. Now place your feet down. Your knees and ankles are squeezed together, and you can take your arms out to a T. Now we're going to take your knees over to one side, and keeping your knees and ankles together, your outside foot will lift off the mat, and you want to keep your opposite shoulder down. So just go to where it feels comfortable. Take a breath in. And exhale, contract your abdominals to come back to center, and then take your legs over the other side. So this just relaxes the low back a little bit. Now that we've done a little pelvic reset, we can just sway your legs side to side. Always work in a range of motion where it feels good for your body, that you're able to maintain a nice natural ease of breath, and then come back to center. Good. So now you're going to take your roller. You can take your full roller or your half roller, and we're going to place it behind the back of your thighs, and we're going to let so if you've got your half roller, put the round side up, and just put it up close to the gluteal fold. And I just want to do a little back of thighs here. So what's happening here is I'm externally rotating at my hips and internally rotating. I'm looking to pin the skin and move the tissue under the skin. So the more relaxed and heavy I am in my legs, the better. And then I'm going to wait, take a focused breath in, and then exhale. And then move the roller down just to mid-hamstring. Now here, I'm moving both legs at once, and I'm looking at turning my hips out so I get a little bit on my outer thigh and a little bit on my inner thigh. But you can also take one leg off to the side and just do one leg at a time. That feels really nice. So here we're getting movement in the hip joint, which is really important. When our back feels tight, our hips tend to tense up and not move as well. So getting mobility in your hips, do the other leg if you're doing one leg. Getting mobility in our hips is one way to free up the low back and the hips. And then you wait, take a breath in, and exhale. And then you're going to move the roller down a little more. You always want to make sure when we're doing this shear that you're on the tissue. So you never want to take it right to the back of the knee and do this. You always want to do it on the muscle. And you can do one leg at a time. And listen, I'm taking you through a routine, but if this is feeling good, you can spend 5-10 minutes do the other leg on your hamstrings. And it's wonderful because If the tension in your back is due to sitting, the hamstrings become compressed and we start to lose blood flow. And therefore we can feel pain, we can feel tenderness. When there's no blood flow, that's a way for your nerves to lighten up and they become hypersensitive and it shows up as pain, but really they're just saying we're missing fuel here. We need oxygen and glucose, and that comes through the way of blood flow. And then wait, take a focused breath in and exhale. So we're going to stop there. There's a whole series we do where we can work through our calves, but we're going to stop at the hamstrings. And now bringing the roller back up, you can roll it underneath your pelvis. Now what's important is that you get the position right. You want it sitting right on your sacrum. So when I reach back, I want to feel that the top of my pelvis is on my belly button side of the roller. And then when I bring both legs up and I tuck them in, I don't want to feel like the roller is going to escape. So you're really on top of your sacrum. You can also bring your knee to the ceiling, and if you draw a straight line, you feel your greater trochanter, and then right on next from there is the roller. So it's like your greater trochanter is right over top. You're going to place your hands just in the side. You kind of pin them in, and then tuck your knees and thighs a little bit closer towards you, so you're a little bit tighter than 90 degrees. And we're going to go into what we call an SI joint shear. So we're just going to rock from side to side. Now, the nice thing about having the hands here is it helps that you don't go too far because you really want to land right on that SI joint. And then you're going to tip your knees towards the camera. And then we're going to circle both legs together. So I'm a little bit tipped to the side, and as I'm circling, I want to keep a little bit of activation of my abdominals so that my ribs stay heavy. And then you can pause there and just circle your bottom hip, nice and slow. If you feel any snapping, cracking, clicking, or popping, then just slow it down and make the range of motion smaller, and then you go into a little march. And then we wait, we hold the legs still, we take a focused breath in, and then you exhale and come back to center. And then you're going to tip your knees the other way. And same thing, circle at your legs, keeping your ribs soft and heavy, nice and relaxed through the neck and shoulders. You can circle just the bottom hip. Again, go slow. We notice more when we move slow. And here what we're doing is we hydrate the SI joint, is that we're bringing hydration all the way from the pelvis, all the way up through the lower back. And then you can do a nice little march. And then you wait, take a focused breath in. And exhale, come back to center. Wonderful. We're going to place your left foot down, and I want you to press into your big toe. What's important is that we don't let our knee drift off to the side, that we bring our leg back to center, and that your knee is lined up from the center of your hip. So when you press into your big toe, that can help to keep that alignment. Our focus here is getting a lengthening sensation from your left hip and thigh. You're going to interlock your fingers around your right knee, relax your shoulders. You'll take a focused breath in, and as you exhale, you tuck your pelvis. You're going to draw your pubic bone towards your belly button. And as you do that, you want to think about your left knee reaching over your left toes as you gently draw your right knee towards your nose. Again, we want to find length through the left hip and thigh. Ease up a little bit, check that this knee hasn't dripped off, press into your big toe. We take a breath in, and as you exhale, you tuck your pelvis and move your knees in opposite direction to create that length. Shoulders easy, and then relax. Bring your left leg up, place your right foot down, press into your right big toe. Same thing. We want our hips square. You want to make sure you're right over the top of sitting right onto your sacrum. Take a breath in, press into your right big toe. And as you exhale, tuck your pelvis, draw your pubic bone towards your belly button, and take your knees in opposite direction. Take a focused breath in, and exhale. Ease up. Check that your right knee is lined up from the center of your hip. Press into your right big toe. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, you tuck your pelvis and move your knees in opposite direction. Again, inhale and exhale. Wonderful. So now we're going to bring both knees up. We're going to do our tuck and tilt challenge. From your hands on your thighs, you're going to slide your hands up so they're sitting just below your knees. I'll say below, but I want them on the bottom of your thigh. Your elbows are straight. Now we want to stay heavy in your pelvis and heavy in your ribs. And what we're looking at doing is moving your pelvis independent of your ribs and your thighs. So with straight elbows, you're going to press your thighs into your hands and keep that tension consistent. You'll take a breath in, and as you exhale, keep the pressure of your thighs into your hands. You're going to tuck your pelvis. So you're using the muscles of your core to sink your belly button to your spine. Shoulders are relaxed, elbows are straight. As you exhale again, you're going to untuck your pelvis or go into what we call a tilt. And again, check that your ribs are heavy. Inhale, exhale. You tuck, keeping the pressure of your thighs consistently into your hands. And as you exhale again, you tilt. So this won't be a very big move, but what you want to notice as you exhale and tuck is, does the movement feel smooth? Does it feel that there's an ease of moving your pelvis while maintaining heaviness and stability in your ribs? And then you tilt, and we'll go one more time. Thighs stay pressing into the hands. Exhale, tuck, and in. Exhale, tilt. Good. Now we're going to keep your pelvis in the tilt, which means that the weight of your pelvis is on top of the roller, but your ribs are still heavy. Low back decompress, take an inhale, and as you exhale, you've relaxed on your hands. You're going to press your thighs into your hands, but maintain your tilt. Maintain your heels slack to your butt cheeks, and notice the lengthening, or what we call a decompress, in your lumbar spine. Release the pressure, take another breath in, feel that you're tilted on the pelvis, your pelvis is tilted on the roller, and as you exhale, you press your thighs into your hands, noticing ribs stay heavy, but there's a lengthening or decompression of your low back. One more time, ease up on the pressure, inhale, and exhale, press your thighs into your hands. Feel that activation of your lower abdominals. We call that your deep-rooted core and the decompression of your low back. We're going to finish with one more move called the mini bridge, where we can start to bring stability into your core, your glutes, and your inner thigh. We're going to place your feet down on the mat, and you want to have a full footprint. So notice that my ankles and heels are right under my knee. You can keep your hands on the roller just to help stabilize the roller, or just let your arms relax long. We're going to be in a tilt, so not a tuck, a tilt. So you can do one tuck just to feel where you draw your pubic bone to the belly button, feeling that tuck, and then simply release that and let the weight of your pelvis be on the roller. So here, you're what we call pelvis is heavy on the roller and you're light on your feet. We're going to break this down for our first 3 reps, and then we're going to bring it together into what we call an integration or repatterning. You take a breath in. As you exhale, you're going to switch where you become heavy on your feet and light on the roller. Now you can see my pelvis is still on the roller, but I'm feeling the pressure in my feet, and I've de-weighted my pelvis. I check that my ribs are heavy. I push my heels away from the seat. I want to narrow my knee angle. And then take a breath in, and as you exhale, you want to think about lifting just from the lower fibers of your glutes and lengthening your knees over your toes. So the effort is ribs are heavy, glutes are active, inner thigh is active. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, come back down to the roller, and then you come to pelvis heavy on the roller, feet are light on the mat. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to switch or become heavy on the feet, light on the roller. Take another breath in. And as you do that, push your heels away from your seat. I want you to narrow your knee angle so that you get this nice engagement through your inner thigh. And then, keeping ribs heavy, lift from your lower glutes, energizing your knees over your toes. The idea is your open throat, wide collarbone, soft, heavy ribs, but nice and engaged through your glutes and your inner thigh. Take a breath in and exhale, lower down, Heavy pelvis, light feet. Let's do that one more time. Inhale. As you exhale, you want to go heavy feet, light pelvis. Take another breath in. Push your heels away from your seat. Narrow your knee angle, keeping your ribs still. You can even place your hands on your ribs. You want to activate lower fibers of glutes. Reach your knees over your toes. Pause. Inhale and exhale to lower back down. Now let's do that together. So in one time, as you exhale, you want to push your heels away from your seat, narrow your knee angle, lift from the lower fibers of your glutes, pressing your knees over your toes. Are you ready? Let's take a breath in. As you exhale, ribs heavy, push your heels away from your seat, narrow your knee angle, reach your knees over your toes. Inhale. Exhale, come down, heavy pelvis, light feet. Inhale. Exhale, heavy feet, light pelvis. Push your feet away from your glutes. Narrow your knee angle. As you lift, lengthen your knees over your toes. Inhale, pause. Exhale to come back down. Heavy pelvis, light feet. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, push your heels away from your seat. Narrow your knee angle. As you de-weight, your knees reach over your toes. Inhale. And exhale, come back down. Let's bring it, pelvis or the roller away from your pelvis. Move your roller out of the way, lie your legs down, and let's just check and see if we notice any changes. Palms to ceiling, close your eyes. What we want to notice is there more of you on the mat? Do you feel like more of your shoulder blades and rib wall are on the mat? And do you feel more of a distinct or steeper curve in your low back? Also notice if you feel like you're resting more centered on your pelvis and you're more aware that you're weighted on your glutes. Come back to center, divide your body into a left and right, and notice if you feel more balance between the right and left side of your body. And even though we didn't do anything in our upper body, turn your head to the right and left. And just notice if you have any more freedom of movement in your neck. Come back to center, take a focused breath in, and exhale. Bend your knees and roll onto your side. So if you're feeling tight in your back, or maybe you've just had a day where you've been sitting a lot, this is just a really great way to bring hydration into your low back, into your pelvis, into your hamstrings, and just get everything nice and centered. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below. You can also send me a note, and I'd be happy to help.